Sean Pickett with Sales Integrity here. Thank you for listening to the Sales Integrity Podcast. I created a free course for you titled 7 Steps to Master the Game of Complex Technical Selling. To claim your free course, just visit mastercomplexselling.com. Again, that's mastercomplexselling.com, or simply text the word SI course to the number 44222. Again, that's SI as in Sales Integrity. So SI course, all one word with no space in between SI and course. Otherwise, you'll get an error message back. So simply text the word SI course to the number 44222. Now let's jump into the podcast. Anyone who knows me well knows I am always preaching about the use of the power of 3 when it comes to selling and communicating. This is a well-known concept for advertisers, promoters, marketers, and web designers, as you will see the power of 3 put to use by all of them in their messaging. However, I have found that sales professionals are relatively unaware of the psychological advantage the power of 3 provides to improve their communication. So we will finish this week strong by focusing on the power of 3 for today's podcast episode. Now, the power of 3, sometimes known as the rule of 3, is a writing principle that suggests that things that come in threes are funnier, more satisfying, or more effective than other numbers of things. The reader or audience of this form of text is also thereby more likely to remember the information. The second you introduce a fourth concept or more, the more likely it is the recipient of the information will become overwhelmed and forget all 4 or more of the concepts presented. This power of 3 concept becomes even more exasperated and more important when you are just in a verbal conversation without any visual aids, such as presentations, website pages, or videos, or even just a written email or brochure. I've always weaved this into our coaching advice and coaching program curriculum for our clients, especially as it relates to helping sales professionals create their systematic sales messaging templates within the creation of their go-to-market sales campaigns. No one has ever questioned me on this topic, I believe, because of 2 reasons. Number 1, they have heard about it or already knew it to be true. And number 2, they have never heard about it, but it seems to make logical sense to them just on the surface by taking it at face value. But I must say, it does surprise me that not one single person has ever dug a little bit deeper to ask me exactly why this is the case. So today, I'm going to peel back the onion a bit here to uncover exactly why the power of 3 works so well, and more importantly, why you should use it more frequently in your sales conversations, whether via email, in-mail, phone call, live conversation, or otherwise. First, let's examine how the human brain sees things. The brain finds it relatively easy to grasp 3s: elements, colors, and fonts. Push that marginally up to 4 and the brain gets confused about where to look and what to do. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. If a friend has ever asked you to look at some design concepts, for instance, to help them select one of those design concepts for their website, maybe it's a business card or a brochure or even professional headshot photos. They might have taken multiple headshot photos and sent over those multiple headshot photos of them, for instance. Then you probably experienced this confusion firsthand that your brain was experiencing. If they provided you with 4 or more options, then you probably felt like it was going to take some time to look through it all and to provide them with some good feedback. So in that case, you might have pushed the task off to the side and thought to yourself, I will get to it when I get a little bit more time. I'll get to it later. In this example, the presenter of the information, the person seeking the feedback, doesn't get what they want in terms of immediate responses and have to go into chase mode to pursue that feedback. And this is to get help from people that they know. Imagine doing this with people you don't know, who don't feel obligated to reply or even look at what you sent because there is no connection point, such as being friends and trusting each other. This same phenomena occurs in the sales profession, as you know, as we are consistently pursuing net new target market prospects who don't know us from Adam, right? However, in that same example, if your friend only provided 3 options, to look at, you would most likely feel it'd be a quick and easy task to select one of the three. So you most likely knock that task out on the spot. So lesson number one here is to apply the same principle if you are sending emails, for instance, to net new target market prospects to make it easy for them to make a decision to even read it on the spot. If you ask any CEO how many emails per day they receive, the number would absolutely astound you. Yet, the number one method for the modern salesperson for reaching out to target market prospects these days is sending emails as a first touch point. I'm not saying it's the only thing they do, but it tends to be the method that they're leaning on most likely. Now with social selling, the social selling revolution really picking up steam here, I should say. Sending emails might be the number one method, but it's quickly yielding to, let me send an in-mail or just put some valuable content out and sit back and wait for people to reach out to me. So just keep this in mind. No matter what mode of communication, you want to keep this power of three in mind. Most of those CEOs that receive that astounding amount of emails per day say they just simply delete the emails without even reading them, especially if it is long-winded and doesn't grab their attention. Simply keeping it short and adding a 1, 2, 3 list or a 3 bullet point list will add the right elements to potentially capture their attention, which could cause them to read your email. And that's the first step. Next, let's discuss why the human brain finds it relatively easy to grasp threes. The short answer is this: it's because we have been conditioned since childhood through our educational system, cartoons, books, and other learning methods to learn in concepts of three. For example, as a child, everything you did and learned seemed to be centered around three. ABC, 1, 2, 3, 3 blind mice, 3 musketeers, the Holy Trinity, the Three Stooges, Huey, Louie, and Dewey, quack, 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 and so on and so forth. Is it starting to make sense now? It is so ingrained in our brains to learn in this manner that the power of three is absolutely our de facto mode of learning anything. So, why is this important for us to learn? Because most of us are always presenting or selling to someone else. Even if you're not a sales professional, you're always trying to convince somebody of something. And during my research on this topic, I came across a great analogy to describe why you would want to leverage the power of three in your everyday communications in general, much less your selling efforts, if you want to get your point across and make real progress towards achieving results. And that analogy is as follows. The proof of the pudding is always in the eating, but the taste buds start to salivate only when it looks really yum. If you choose to ignore the psychology behind this, your dish might taste wonderful, but you may never get someone to stay long enough to eat. Well, that does it for today's episode. Before we finish up with some quick reminders, I wanted to make a quick comment. This ends my 20th episode for the Sales Integrity Podcast. So I've now completed 4 straight weeks of podcasting for 5 days a week to complete my first month ever of podcasting. I just want to say thank you to all the listeners out there who have subscribed, and especially thank you to all those individuals who have directly provided me feedback on what they liked about the podcast, and more importantly, how I could improve the podcast. That advice is way more valuable than you know, as I am doing this really for you, the listener. So I want to make sure I'm continuing to improve this. So seeing that we hit that first milestone of 1 month of podcasting and got that in the books, and knowing that we are building an audience who has provided some excellent feedback, on Monday, I'm going to publish a quick, less than 5-minute special announcement in addition to the Mindset Monday episode to share some lessons learned and to let you know about some positive changes I'm going to make to the Sales Integrity Podcast moving forward based on those lessons learned. And we'll make those changes in effect starting next week. So I look forward to sharing that special announcement with you, and I look forward to starting month 2 of the podcast next week and continuing on our journey together. In the meantime, let's finish up with some quick reminders. First, we recently launched 2 new B2B tech sales professional groups, one on LinkedIn and one on Facebook. Just search for B2B tech sales professionals on either LinkedIn or Facebook, or both if you want to join both groups, and join the conversation with your peers there. Second, if you haven't already subscribed to our free 7-day video email course titled 7 Steps to Master the Game of Complex Technical Selling, then you can do so by visiting mastercomplexselling.com. Again, that's mastercomplexselling.com, or you can text the word SI course. So as in sales integrity, SI course, all one word with no spacing in between. If you send it with a space between SI and course, you'll receive an error message back. So text the word SI course to the number 44222. After subscribing, we will send you your first lesson via email right away on day one, and then one for the next 6 days. Third, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or SoundCloud. Just search for the Sales Integrity Podcast with Sean Pickett, and it should pop up and allow you to subscribe on one of those two channels. After you subscribe, please provide a quick 5-star rating and simple 1 to 2 sentence review to help others find the show. To provide a review on iTunes isn't as simple as you think. You can't do so directly within the podcast. What you have to do is actually click on the search icon, then type in Sales Integrity, and you will see my podcast there. Now, I'm referring to the purple podcast icon. When you click on that on your iPhone, brings up the main podcast center. Down below, you'll see the search icon. So click on that, type in Sales Integrity, and you'll see the podcast there. Click on the podcast. In it, you'll see the reviews tab in the middle there. Just click on that. And once there, you could provide a 5-star rating and simple 1 or 2 sentence review. Now, since iTunes prioritizes shows with the most ratings and reviews higher than those that have just a few of them, this will dramatically help the show be found by more people. So I greatly appreciate it. And finally, please share the podcast with your colleagues and friends who would find it relevant. You can do so by going to salesintegrity.com and click on the Sales Integrity Podcast menu link at the top of the page. All of the podcasts are there, and it provides you a way to click a button and share any episode, whether via email directly to individuals, or there's buttons there to share it on the various social media sites, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, etc. So I would greatly appreciate it if you spread the word about the show on social media to help grow it. And finally, that'll do it for today's episode. Now go out there in the sales world today and help your prospects and customers buy what they want, what they need, and what benefits them. And most importantly, go out there and make it a great day.